before I continue on really with the story, the weird part is when I first got to the school, I saw the secretary, right? You have to sign in when you're late. Of course, I was late. I just walked 10 miles and woke up without an alarm. So when I get to her desk, she's rolling up just a pile of money, like with rubber bands, like a whole, like she's counting money for the mafia. And I see that, and the first thought in my head was, take it and run. And it was followed by the next thought of that money is not real. And then I saw as, oh, that's a temptation. That's a holographic illusion to try to tempt me into acting like a psychotic person. And I really felt inside that there was some type of force that was overseeing this, and they were testing me. They were seeing if I was a refined enough being to continue to the next gate, which I do believe I passed. I don't know really how far I got. I'm really excited to push the bounds of what is possible with energy and kundalini and everything. And so, going on, I'm in the teacher's lounge, and man, I made some edits of this video, so I'm not sure where I'm at in the story, but basically I'm acting erratically and I feel high. Like I feel like on a psychedelic drug, to be honest with you. But less of the visuals you get when you're on a psychedelic, if that even makes sense. It was more just very extreme body sensation, a lot of pressure, right, in your mind. And he was eating a sandwich, and I just remember thinking, like, everything you're eating right now looks massive. Like, it looked cartoonish. Like, it looked fake. Like, I don't know how to word it right. And so, whatever. He asked me if I'm hungry. I'm not hungry, and my mom ends up coming and getting me, and I remember getting in the car with her or whatever. And there's just none of this really discussion, like, actually questioning me, like, yo, what is going on? Like, why are you acting this way? Or what are you experiencing? And I find that really odd. Like, no one really looked me in the eyes. I was like, what's going on with you? I just kept being placed like I needed to be taken care of, right? Like, oh, he's behaving in an unusual way, so let's just set him aside. Let's just control him. Let's just, a lot of this fear mentality. And I was the most alive I've ever felt in my life, right? I was waking up early. I was not depressed. I had energy. I had thoughts. I had ideas. I had passion. All of it. And anyway, so my mom gets me, and she brings me home. It's like, you got to get ready for this camping trip with your family and go pack. And so I'm like, all right, so I go, and I remember thinking, like, I was going to go into the past, right? I was going to straight up go to my family tribe, Native American type stuff. I got some blood in me, about 15% Cherokee. And I really thought that's what was going to happen. So I thought I had to bring them gifts from the future. So I was packing, like, DVDs and, like, cool stones I had and all sorts of stuff. Now, on the drive to my dad's in Park City, I had a Jamba Juice, right? And I won't get too much in what happened there. But I remember the road, it almost looked like there weren't any turns. Like, it was just an endless road to our destination. That's kind of how I remember it being. And I was like a little freaked out by it, but I was like, oh man, like, I'm in the Matrix. Like, I'm breaking out of reality. Like, let's just go. Let's do it. Like, I was so excited, guys. I mean, not really. And because I didn't take a drug, right? Because this escalated slowly, and it wasn't just like, boom, you're psychotic after you take this drug, right? I never questioned what reality was. I also hadn't dealt with these, altered mind spaces enough to know what was going on. Now, if I was to have ever a similar experience, I would know what was happening, and I would at least be able to ground myself, ground my energy, lower the frequency down if I needed to. And so it's super weird because I get to my dad's, whatever, and I don't eat dinner with them. I thought that I did, but they told me that when they ate dinner, I just sat with them, right? And I was just so invigorated with energy. Like, I didn't have a desire to eat, guys. Like, I did not desire food. Man, so then I kept thinking I was going to heaven. Like, I was going through the gates. But it was like a secret. It was like, oh no, I gotta sneak through almost. And I had this weird thought about there being like other versions of me's, like fractalizations of myself. And I had to like prove that I was the chosen one, right? The probable quantum reality self that was gonna do it. I was gonna go be accepted through the gates. And I ended up going to their house, whatever. I tripped out a little bit. I tried to put 2 DVDs on a DVD player, and my dad freaked out. He's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Nothing." And it's like, anytime someone was like, "What are you doing?" Not, "What are you experiencing? What are you thinking?" It was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Nothing. I'm not doing anything. I did something wrong." So it's like, "Don't do that." So I was like, "All right, don't do that thing. Don't put 2 DVDs in a DVD player to try to bend the light frequencies to create a portal." Like, maybe that doesn't work. Definitely doesn't work, guys. Anyways, I ended up watching a movie with my dad. It was River Runs Through It, and I saw, just Google it real quick, but I saw this weird yin-yang pattern dynamic with the main characters. I saw masculine, feminine, push-pull type dynamic. I was like, oh, flow. Like, there it is. Left brain, right brain, all that stuff. This is the fractal, guys. And I don't know. I just watched that whole movie, and I was like, I'm seeing it. I'm seeing the thing to see. To all of it, right? And sorry, I'm just so hyped, guys. I'm just so hyped to tell you this story. I don't know what to do. And basically I kept trying to manifest a being onto this plane. That whole night I was trying to figure out like how to do it. And I was looking for quote unquote her, right? I was looking for this feminine force. And I wonder, I had a lot of weird theories about like soulmate and all that mumbo jumbo, but what I really think it is like the feminine aspect of self, right? I was looking for Shakti and Shiva, like that whole force of Kundalini, probably. I don't know. I was a lot in my mind. I was a lot in my ego at this time of my life, and that's probably why it was such intense. Because having a pineal gland but not an ego death, I think your ego needs to die before you can really. Otherwise, you bring your ego along for the ride. You become a Jim Jones type guy, and you convince a bunch of people to kill themselves. Like it's not so good. Anyways, I stayed up all night, and then at 5 in the morning, I was like, you know what? The thing I'm trying to do isn't going to happen in this house. Like, I need to leave. And so I opened the front door, and I just started walking out. And here I am, like, I had long hair, right? Long hair to my shoulders. I had a drug rug on. I was barefoot, literally hippie status, walking around Park City in Labor Day weekend. And I remember walking around, and the ground felt super cold, but again, symbolism. Everything was symbolic, right? And I thought that I needed to. I was trying to go somewhere, to be honest, and it didn't hit me until I saw the sun. I started staring at the sun, perfect circle, and I was like, door. Like, I had to go through that door. So I started following the sun, guys. I walked past shops and food, and it did smell good, right? I remember being tempted, right? That's what I thought it was. Another temptation, a sensory temptation, a lower reality chakra temptation. And I was like, no, resist. So I kept going, and eventually I ended up on a mountain. A lot of weird stuff happened on this mountain, guys. A lot of weird stuff. I saw people, like, things got really weird really fast. And I do not have the time to tell you all the strange shit I saw and did and the people I talked to and with. Oh, I'd love to go way deep. I could literally every part of this whole story I could talk endlessly about. That's what happens when you activate your pineal. Like, there is not enough time, space to tell you in words what you're experiencing. It's time travel. It's literally time travel. Because you're experiencing more time than everybody else. Everyone else is asleep, right? That's why it's an eye, right? You gotta open it. You gotta be awake. Awake, guys. So, anyways, problem with trying to get into the sun door while in a mountain in Park City, disconnected from reality, is a problem with water. I did not have it, right? So I got really thirsty, and then the effects of the dehydration started to really kick in. And again, guys, I've been awake for the whole night. I hadn't eaten anything except for that Jamba Juice, and I was on this mountain for 14 hours in the heat, running around, like exerting myself. I was fucked up. Really fucked up, guys. And at one point, I was just like, you know what? I'm exhausted. After trying to protect this tree from God knows what for like 2 hours, I was like, I'm just exhausted. So I went, and there was a telephone pole, and I just bent the wires that were around it and wrapped my hands around. I'm like, I'm just gonna save this one tree because mankind is harnessing its power. Like, dude, I don't know. And I just started counting down from 100 because I was too tired. Like, I was gonna die. It was weird though, because a little bit before that is I was laying down in these leaves, and I heard these voices. Like, I heard them walking, like footsteps, and I heard them talking to each other about me. And like inside, I knew that they were not physical beings. I believe that they were real. I do not think they were just hallucinations in my brain. And they said to each other, they said, "Oh, he's pretending to be a tree again." I was like, "What?" And then he was like, "Well, throw a rock at him." And then immediately I jumped up and just started running. Like, it was pure fight or flight response, like just adrenaline. And it wasn't so like fear-based. It was just like I didn't think about it. I just got up and run. And I wonder if like some type of being that was watching out for me like threw a ball of chi at me, which caused me to, I had to do something with that chi. So I got up and ran. Thank God they did, because I probably would have died if I would have just stayed right there, because it would have got nighttime soon. No one would have found me. It would have got real cold. Oh, dude, it would have not have been good. But where I ended up counting down from 100 was kind of next to a road. And I remember just hearing, which was super weird, right? I'm counting down from 100, and I literally hear people, real people, and they say, "We found him." Right? Because my parents were looking for me, and there's some calls about some kid on a mountain, like, behaving weird. And so the police come get me, and I remember they walked down this trail, which was super weird to me. They saw me from the road, but they had to walk down the trail. Super weird spot for me to be. It was not coincidence. There's no way it's not coincidence. And man, this music's annoying. But I remember I did not trust the male cop. Right, there were two cops. One was female, one was male. Did not trust the male. Immediately, not terrible vibes. I'm like, not talking to you, nothing. The girl, I'll talk to you though. Talk to her. They brought me Sprite. I was like, no, I'm not having none of that Sprite. Like, I need water, dude. Like, I cannot drink that. Fire department comes. I'm drinking all this water. I'm having a great time. Like, I'm like, yeah, I'm like, hell yeah. I'm like, water. That's all I really give a shit about. But I was in a great mood, to be honest. Uh, I remember seeing their police logo. It was like 1984. And I was like, oh, fuck. Like, am I in the past? Like, they're going to ask me when I was born. I'm going to tell them I'm from the future. And they're going to lock me up. I was really worried about that. But, they asked me, when I was born, what year it was. I gave them all correct information because my brain was just fried from the dehydration is all. Anyways, I get sent to the ER. They pump a quart of water into my bloodstream. And my parents show up. And I just remember, like, it was like watching a football game. But, man, the color symbolism of the teams that were playing and, like, the scores, all of that was so interconnected. And I just saw this weird dynamic play out of, like, holographic reality, fractalization. I was like, it's got to be what someone taking, like, if you went to a football game and you took 100 hits of acid, what it would be like. Like, I can't with words tell you what was going on. Other than to say that I was experiencing some really weird stuff. And I thought that I was in this hospital was like a hospital for like people that have broken through the dimensions, right? And they're here to be stabilized. I was like, all right, yeah, stabilize me. Like, yeah, I made it. Like, just stabilize me, right? And I remember looking at the girls. One of the nurses, she had this card and her photo ID thing, but I saw like horns, and I was like, "Oh shit, you have horns!" Like, and she was like, "Oh no, they're glasses, right up in her hair." And then in the back of my mind, I was like, "Oh no, she just cast a spell on me." I saw through the illusion and saw the truth, but now she cast the illusion of there's glasses. Dude, there probably was glasses. Like, I was probably just tripping. I'll be on that one. But that's what was going on in my head. Anyways, I heard these weird conversations that were about me. One of them was like, you don't want to be a supernova again. Like, I had done this before. Like, I had gotten so much energy. I exploded. Literally, like a soul consciousness just exploded. And like was reincarnated as another being and just did it over again. And then after hundreds of thousands of lifetimes, I develop enough power to shoot the rocket ship. Anyways, I don't know. But I remember that. And they kept asking me like, what's going on? I'm like, what happened? And I was like, mushrooms. I did mushrooms. Oh, they asked me if I did anything like that. Like, the same guy did is like, have you ever done anything? I was like, acid. Same thing with these guys. Have you ever done it? I was like, well, the last thing I did was mushrooms. So I told them, mushrooms. So they just thought that I had just barely taken mushrooms, tripped balls on a mountain. And that was, oh man, there was just not enough. There was not enough, like, questioning going on. Not enough, like, awakened people to really assess the situation. So, oh man, this is where the story gets really freaky because they ended up transferring me. They're like, all right, well, you can't stay in the ER forever. Okay. I don't remember quite how this part happened, but I remember getting up and like starting to like I started asking some questions about like what was happening and like what was gonna happen next. And one of the police officers, and I don't know if this was the male one that I just did not trust right off the bat. I can't remember. Other people have told me some weird things about this particular police officer though. Anyways, he grabbed my arm and like threw me down, and my neck was on the gurney. and I'm like choking, and he's like, stay calm, and as calmly as I could, like, and I didn't have any emotional reaction to what he was doing. Like, I was so beyond the control of someone else's like ability to have power over me, intimidate me, any of that stuff. And he just, I was like, I am calm, right? And so he just let me go because I'm not reacting to him. And I ended up going to this other hospital, and it was like for people that, you know, if they OD or whatever, they go to this hospital. You're only supposed to be there like max like a month. I was there about 10 days. I'll get into that in the next video, but on the way there, I got super terrible vibes. Like, I'm in an ambulance, and it's like an hour away from Park City. We went to Salt Lake City, Utah, and well, it's like 45 minutes, I guess. And I'm just tripping. Like, I'm like, oh no, like I'm gonna be thrown into the incinerator. Like, my meanness is about to be exhausted. Like, I failed. Like, I'm going to hell, right? Hell, fire, brimstone, destruction. I didn't think of it as like punishment. I thought it was like annihilation of a consciousness. And I was like, oh no, like, give me another chance. And because of this fear that I started feeling, I looked at the police officer and I was like, help me. Like, officer, like, you have to help me. Like, you are an officer. And the weirdest thing happened is he kept looking at me and like opened his eyes real wide. He was like, said something, and I was like, wait. And then slowly it felt like he was God in disguise as a police officer, and we were behind enemy lines, and he was like trying to let me in on this secret, like, yo, don't blow my cover, like, it's me, like, I'm the big boss man, like, I am God himself, and I'm watching out for you, you just gotta trust me. Okay, that's what I just gleaned from the situation. And there's a lot of weird metaphorical symbolism that we can go in about that. And I'm sure all you enlightened folks are just picking it up dot for dot. And that's why I'm not going to waste no time explaining shit. Like, this knowledge is for adepts only. No neophytes are going to get none of this shit. They're going to be a little astounded for sure. And most people think I'm straight crazy as shit. And that is okay, guys. That is fine. Because I know how to be calm and answer logical questions. Like, it's fine, and I don't fucking hallucinate and all this shit. This is during the psychosis. This is during the dehydration, near-death experience on a mountain, right? And I'm going back. Anyways, they finally wheel me in, and for some reason I think they want to use this power I've attained, and they want to use it to like steal valuable things. Again, symbolism, guys, metaphor. Like, my brain was going nuts with these things. The weirdest thing about it is when I got to the hospital, they told the police officer, they're like, we got it, go away. And he like freaked out. He threw like a child temper tantrum about how like what did he think he was gonna do? Like, it wasn't, there weren't criminal charges. It's not like I was a criminal, but that's what he wanted, guys. He wanted me to react. He wanted to exert his authority over me, to punish me and contain me and get me into the jail, right? Those vibes and the crazy ass magic that's in their symbolism and the psychic auras that are around their building. That's the environment he wanted me in for my activation. Instead, I ended up in a hospital, which, like the next best thing, it was terrible, guys. The main reason why is because I don't remember ever getting out of the gurney. I was on an IV, boom, blackout. They just dosed me with drugs. Over the next 3 days, maybe it was more than that, but over the next few days, I just started to realize that I was walking around, that I was like in a place. It's not like you just wake up from a drug state. It was like a fugue. It's like I was in a fugue because of all the pharmaceutical drugs that they had given me. Now, my mom's a nurse, and we showed the stuff they were giving me to another nurse, and she was like, "What? They're you're not ever supposed to give someone these amount of drugs, these different amount of drugs, and at these doses, like, especially for someone that just went through a near-death experience from dehydration. Like, dude, this whole story makes no sense. From dude, there's a conspiracy. There's literally a conspiracy, and I will just go way deep because I was a minor and my parents couldn't even transfer me to another hospitals. Why? Insurance companies. The insurance companies somehow had the power to keep me in a facility, not like just let me go into, just be a free human. No, it wasn't. I wasn't even allowed to transfer to a better facility, right? Dude, they were straight trying to fry my mind itself. Like, if you've ever seen Requiem of a Dream, which you definitely should, I was that old lady. And here I am, 17 years old, having a pineal gland activation, third eye activation. I'm having a Kundalini awakening, like, and I'm being psychically attacked and, like, inhibited. Um, they would give me 2 crushed up sleeping pills, and I wouldn't sleep because I was so paranoid. My hip was super sore, and I was like, man, why is my hip sore? And then one night I'm freaking out, hallucinating from the sleeping pills, because when you take sleeping pills and you don't sleep, something happens. You freaking hallucinate, right? So I'm hallucinating. Well, not really hallucinating, but I'm freaking out at them. I was like, oh, these girls, they're being raped. And I was like, I didn't like hear girls being raped, but I just really thought that their energy was being drained out of their bodies. And it was just very symbolistic, very sexual type energy, prana, whatever. Which again, this all ties back to like Kundalini, and just like how the sacred feminine is being raped, literally, and I mean that both internally. I mean that as a global aspect. I mean that as, literally females are raped, right? And so this all goes, it's the law of correspondence, guys. The law of the, one of the laws of the, or the, one of the 7 hermetic principles. Anyways, so they come in with this needle and they say, ooh, let me put this in you. And I'm like, whoa, dude. Like, what? I'm not going to let you put a needle in my body. Like, what is it first? And I get why a nurse shouldn't tell people what's in this drug they're going to give you. But I was like, no, I don't want it. First of all, she was like, let me give it to you. And she'd keep walking closer to me. If I looked away, she'd walk closer. And so I was like, just, get out, get away. And then finally, just because I wanted her to stop, I let her do it. I surrendered. So she injects me and I lay in this bed just high as a fucking kite. So high I can't even move, I can't think, can't do shit but be high. And the next day, that hip hurt. And I'm like, fuck. They already shot me up and I don't remember getting shot up. So now they did it again, right? And through sheer willpower, guys, I had to retain my very consciousness and get out of there. And whew, I did. Thank God I did. And I'm going to go into how, first of all, because it involves a conversation with the head doctor, the head nurse, my father, my mother, and me, all in a room. 5. 5 is the magical number because 5 is the number of man. When you have 5 human beings, it's the synchronistic number for. It's why there's 5 Power Rangers, right? And there's a lot of weird coincidences, right? So one of those coincidences is my dad was on the phone with this doctor, and they're talking about me and like my mental state and like how the admissions. Since I've been there, like my dad didn't see what they'd done to me or anything like that. And they hang up the call. but the call doesn't drop. And the doctor keeps talking. My dad can still hear him. And the doctor was talking shit on him. He was talking shit on me. And my dad was like, what the fuck? My dad is a smart man. He's a civil engineer, right? He knows a thing or two about life itself. And his doctor is treating him like a buffoon, some tomfoolery, right? Some ballyhoo. And my dad's like, no, 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 no. And my mom, who is a nurse, right? Registered nurse, and she also knows all about hypnotherapy and hypnosis and like, you know, gestalt and, you know, just higher consciousness type stuff. So she's got like a more rounded, well picture. Like I had masculine consciousness, right? I had intelligence, and I also had that feminine, like, you know, witch, sorceress type status on my side, right? And so these are like two divine archetypes. Bless them so much for being my parents. Bless them so much. And it was them versus the archonic, demerge type being that was the head doctor and the nurse. Like the demerge archetype, they could not be aligning themselves with a more correct archetype, because that's straight up what they were. Like physical embodiment, that's what they were becoming. Yeah, man. So I'm gonna get more into that video later. Again, I'm gonna split these up in these 30-minute videos. Dude, this story doesn't end. It never can, never will. And that's it, guys. So, Sapiens Secrets, like, I hope you're sticking through me, because this story gets me pumped, and I just hope I'm transferring the knowledge and the excitement, the energy, through my videos, through my words, through my mannerisms, and all of it. So, wholeness, balance, vibrations, and I will see you guys soon, and probably with a shirt on. It's just hot. I got a lot of fire right now, so that's why I'm not wearing a shirt. Check out my tat.